Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel. We are back to watch another episode of Miss Marvel. This is episode 4. What happened last time on Miss Marvel though? Last time was Kamala's brother's wedding, which was really fun. I really enjoyed the whole like dancing sequence. That was super fun. We also learned a lot about, what type of people are trying to interact with Kamala. We learned that Kamran, generally a cool dude, even though he probably intentionally gets Bruno's name wrong. But his family is like part of this group called the Clandestines, and they're essentially jinn, and they're from a different dimension. And they got this bangle off a Kree body, and like we got a whole bunch of info. And this group wants Kamala to help them return to their own dimension using the bangle, but they're like unwilling to wait even a day. like they've been chilling for 100 years and they can't wait 48 hours for this wedding weekend to be done. They're like, no, this is happening now. Anakin, I'm taking him now. And it's like they like turn on a dime. Like they're so nice to her at first. They're like, oh yes, like you're gonna help us, it's great. And then as soon as she's like, I need a day to like sort my thoughts out, right? Like I want to help you, I just need a minute to like figure things out. They're like, oh well, turns out you betrayed us now, and we're gonna kill you, and we're gonna take the bangle and we're gonna kill everyone at this wedding. And it's like a whole big fight sequence. There's a potential fallout between her and Nakia, because she didn't tell her that she was Miss Marvel. Bruno is hurt, a little bit at least. He got hit by a chair. And then the clandestine people were taken in by the Department of Damage Control. But then at the end of the episode, Kamala got a FaceTime from her grandma, and she was like, you got to come to Karachi, because I also saw this train, and we're gonna figure some stuff out. So I wonder if this episode, like, she actually goes there, or if she has to like convince her mom somehow, or maybe her mom is just chill with it. Her mom's like, yeah, let's go to Pakistan. Totally cool. Presumably we're gonna find a lot of things out. We're over halfway through the season now. There's only 6 episodes of this season. That was one thing I commented on last time, about how quick the turn for the villains felt, is because there's only 6 episodes. So they kind of got to get through it. They took a little bit to introduce the villains, so that villainous turn had to inherently come fairly quickly. But overall, I'm loving this show. So I'm excited to jump into episode 4. Before we do that, please leave a like on the video if you like my reaction. If you're new here, hit subscribe and stick around. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider checking out my Patreon. That is linked in the description below. But otherwise, let's jump into episode 4 of Miss Marvel. Oh, it's a plane. Yo, so her family was just like hella chill with going to Pakistan on a dime. They're like, yeah, whatever, let's go. No hesitation. Zero convincing was necessary to get them on this plane.
I thought my daughter had lost her voice, except for asking for more Canada Dry.
I thought I wasn't allowed to speak.
Who's this rando in the middle between them? Is he a cameo that I don't understand?
Because your nanny is very old, and she insisted on us coming to Pakistan. I think that we need to call a temporary truce.
I don't know. Perhaps she can figure out,
Whatever it is that you've been up to lately.
This dude just in the middle of them is like, all right, I don't need to know all your info. Oh, Nakia, answer the freaking phone, girl. She's your best friend. Nani.
Kamala!
Nani!
Ah, Kamala!
No greetings for her mom. Just only Kamala.
Your skin is so dry.
Are you again on one of your strange diets?
Classic parental behavior. The City of Lights. Hey yo, Kamala, don't do that. That's how you get decapitated. You ain't never seen Hereditary? That's how you die. Dang, they've been driving like through the night?
Was the house always this big?
Yes, but it could use a paint job.
It's a big house. Are they like rich as hell? What is this? This is the antique room.
We lost so much during partition.
Ooh,
I
that's
thought the
those.
only way I can
That
hold
looks
on
like
to
the
what we
people
had
from
lost was to
that zone that she went to.
This is my Aisha, your great grandmother.
Dang. She pretty. Ayo, Nani. Explain this bangle. I need the info.
Nani, why did you send this to me? Am I...
An alien?
A jinn? Of course. At least that is what my father told me.
She's just like, yeah, totally, man.
It's just genetics.
It's other dimension genetics.
The important thing is that when the bangle was used the last time, it saved my life. Yes.
Okay,
the
so
bangle
why?
was trying to tell you something, beta.
I don't know how to figure it.
Yeah, what?
So
Give
we
us
had to
some
piece together
answers,
100 different-
please.
Kamala. Please stop. Kamala, you
Oh, okay.
That
It's a
bangle
nightmare.
was made for something bigger than you.
find the tree.
Can't believe we have to order off the patio menu.
She's sweating.
Hi! I'm here! Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hey,
I'm
who are
late.
you? Rakshana.
Is that why she's so hot, Kamala?
Is it spicy food?
Did you not warn me this thing was death?
That's so funny. She's not used to eating the spicy food.
Kamala, look. This is where some of Karachi's oldest residents live.
Okay, cool. Probably. Yo, that haircut though. I wonder if they filmed this on location. That would be so cool.
You know, American born, confused, they
I
say.
know what it means.
Yeah, I thought so.
You know, I thought it might be cool if we checked out the train station.
Train station? Why? Where are you going?
Well, we're going. Meet us after. Station, I guess.
They're just like, we're gonna leave. So you go do whatever the hell you want to do.
Hey.
You look lost.
Yeah, she's never been here before.
You like it?
It's $45,000.
Only 1,500 rupees.
Classic foreign country behavior. They offer you something free. They're like, hey, take it. And then they're like, actually, that's going to cost $20. No, for real though. I've been in foreign countries. Spent some significant time like Africa. I mean, it's not the same as Pakistan, but people will very much come up to you and like offer you free samples of stuff. They'll be like, oh, here, take this. And then You're like, oh, thank you. And then they're like, oh, actually, no, $20. Give 20. I gave you that. Give me money now. You're like, hey, I didn't ask for this. You just gave it to me. Yes, Kamala, put the mask on. That will help. The mask that Bruno perfectly sculpted to your face somehow. Ant-Man. Leo? Who the F just threw a knife at her?
Found you.
Who are you?
Are you following me?
I sensed the Nur.
Oh, so this guy's probably a good dude? He doesn't like the clandestine people?
Do all masked American have superpowers?
Yes.
Well, how do you know I'm not Canadian?
Facts, man. She could totally be Canadian.
You're wearing a shirt that says New Jersey.
That's accurate. Fair. She's not half bad at this point. Well, as I say that, she absolutely biffs that knife throw. Ow.
You're not a clandestine,
You know about them?
but you have the bangle. How did you get it from Aisha?
Wait, how do you know about Aisha?
New best
Come with
friend.
me if you want to live.
What?
Classic.
Just kidding, I've always wanted to say that.
Yeah. Classic line. You're gonna meet your great grandma. Still alive somehow. Yo. This man's got a whole secret hideout. The Red Daggers? Which construction workers did they have to kill to keep this a secret? No one else wonders why there's like 6 empty buildings in the heart of the city connected to some restaurant? They must have some finance behind them.
But for a descendant of Aisha's, I'm sure we can make an exception.
Hello, friend.
No,
My name is Waleed.
Hello, Waleed.
We have much to discuss.
I mean, she's ready right now, fam. She's got nothing else going on.
what am I?
I'll show you. Come.
Yo, I mean, it's in the middle of food eating time. You can't just bail on the meal.
This map shows you how our two worlds coexist.
What? God dang, son, they got super technology.
It's connected to our world but hidden. Behind a veil of Noor that separates our world from theirs.
What?
If the clandestines use the bangle to tear down the veil, they'll unleash their world onto ours.
The flip? So that's, they want to tear down the veil? Not just like, they don't want to just go back to their own place. They want to make the whole shindig their zone.
It says what you seek is seeking you.
What the f does that mean?
Go. Get up.
What a weird place to walk him through.
Bastard! No!
Yeah, hit her again. Come on, what did, no. Bro, how are they so, like, easily able to break out of this? You're in a supermax prison. Why are you only being guarded by 2 people? Especially when you have, like, super strength. What is this?
Let's go.
How do they have their weapons? What is this?
He's not coming with us.
What?
He made his choice. Now he has to live with it.
Bruh.
Sorry.
Mommy.
That's your mom. Yo, she's like, F them kids, bruh. She doesn't give a crap about her child at all. Yo, the fact how easily they were able to overpower those 1.5 guards. Come on now.
My passport is Pakistani. My roots are in India. And in between all of this, there is a border. There is a border marked with
Yeah,
blood
more
and
than you know, lady.
people are claiming their identity based on an idea some old Englishmen had when they were fleeing the country.
Facts. F them Englishmen. Borders decided by people that never lived there. Creating cultural barriers of peoples whose ancestry comes from the same spot.
We all go by nicknames here, right?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Sloth baby.
Sloth baby. Everyone call her Sloth baby.
Yeah, that's not a cool name at all. They just keep introducing all these potential romantic partners for her. Where's Bruno? Classic beach bro vibes, playing the guitar, singing some songs, yeah. Culture's the same, even in Pakistan, dude. You just gotta jam, eat some food, slap on the bass.
Mummy, I think that maybe it is time for you to start considering coming to live with us in America.
Oh, fam, she ain't a fan of that.
I was continuously being shunned by the neighbors because of my crazy mother and her wild theories. And even after Baba left you, you
Oh.
continued to cling to these fantastic theories.
Yeah, but she's right though.
I needed my mother.
Bruh, talk to your daughter. she has got some magic powers, and seeing them might give you a whole new appreciation for your crazy mother. And begging. That's what we want to know, baby. We want to see you in begging. Oh! Bruh.
Surprise.
How did they get here? How did they already arrive here?
What are you doing?
My man's goated? So he's gonna fight them all on his own? Just launches this dude. Yo, if Kamran shows up in Pakistan, I'ma be upset. Yeah, that thing would flip in a heartbeat. Okay. Okay. The clandestines are just so, like, tropey villainy. Like, they don't seem believable.
Go, go, go! Hold on tight!
Oh my god, I knew you were gonna murder me!
We're not dead yet!
Bro, what kind of secret agent is this kid? Oh, yeah, okay, that's pain.
Okay, Driving on the opposite side of the road on a stick. Bismillah, bismillah, bismillah.
Gee, bruh, she couldn't even pass her regular driver's test. Classic. Goes in reverse immediately. What if he just dies? Never mind. Okay, Assassin's Creed? Oh, he's gonna run on those? Or just grab them? Bruh. I thought he was gonna use them and run on them. Would have been wild. Oh, he's gonna die. Yeah, because he gave up his only weapons to help them. Yeah, no, keep running. He's dead. Where's your great grandma? She's gonna come in. Oh, no. Oof. Okay, Kamala. She has learned how to fight very quickly. Oh, he killed him. What a goat. Ripping open dimensions. Is she in the past now? Wow. This episode is wild, dude. Is she like actually in the past? Like, did she time travel and can interact with these people? Or is she... Is this like a I'm my own grandpa type scenario? She's gonna be the one that saves her grandma? She's the Trail of Stars? Okay, so she's physically there. What? Bruh. She just opened a hole in reality and got sent back in time. This is wild. Dude, this show is a trip, man. I feel like so many things happen in each episode that I feel like they needed one more episode. Maybe make this a 7-episode season or an 8-episode season, because a lot of things feel very rushed and not like they don't have very much weight behind, you know, what's happening, right? And it mainly has to do with the clandestines. Like they seem so unbelievable. It's crazy. Like everything that happens with the clandestines feels like it's almost in a different show, if that makes sense. Like this is a very interesting like coming of age superhero story where she's learning about herself and learning about where she came from and like learning about her history and everything that her great grandmother was involved in, and like, you know, it feels like they kind of like had that as the basis of what they wanted, and then but they're like, oh, but we also need a conflict, right? Like it can't just be a coming of age story. Like she has to have something to overcome. And so they introduce the clandestines, and everything with the clandestines feels very rushed and very out of place and you know, unbelievable, if that makes sense. Which is weird to say this is unbelievable in a show where like this character has superpowers. Like theoretically things should not be unbelievable, but they seem even more out of place still. I think now that we're 4 episodes in, it's becoming slightly more apparent that they're struggling a little bit, kind of marrying the interesting cultural aspects of Kamala and her family and her background as a Pakistani Muslim, and Like those are the most interesting parts of the show to me, is all the stuff that's going on right there. And it feels like they're slightly struggling to pair that with the conflict, like the greater superhero-esque conflict that's going on. But they pick up right after last episode, essentially, where they're heading to Pakistan immediately. Like there's no hesitation to get there. There's no, and that's another part of it being 6 episodes, is they can't have scenes where she has to like go to her mom and be like, hey mom, we have to go to Pakistan. Like, I know it may seem like an unbelievable thing, but we have to go. Like, they're cut to first scene, they're already on the plane, already landing. And maybe it's the like Edgar Wright influence on this show, but like the quick cutting, quick editing, makes the show feel very rapid and very fast paced in certain parts, when it's not the deeper emotional moments of like her family. It can feel very quick cutty and very fast paced and somewhat like, all right, we don't have time to explore this and this, so we're just gonna cut and then the next scene, right? But we hit up grandma's spot, and she's got a giant house. Like, she's got some money. She's got cash, son. She is not struggling by any means, seemingly, even though her husband left her a while back. So I don't know what she did. Maybe her family comes from money or something, I don't know. But Kamala has a talk with her grandma, and her grandma's like, listen, all the questions you have don't matter. Like, that means nothing to me. She's like, you just need to find this train. It's like, okay, I guess, whatever. And I enjoyed all the scenes of like her trying to, like, she's like this fish out of water in a place that she's not super familiar with. She's in Pakistan. She's not aware to not wear jeans, right? Like, she doesn't pick up on every custom. She's a, what do they call it? ABCD, American born confused Desi. Like, she's struggling a bit. Her cousins are just roasting her, and then her cousins straight up abandon her. She's like, hey, can we go to the train station? I want to see where Nani first came to the country. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna leave, have fun, like, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. And she goes to the train station and immediately gets in a fight with this red dagger kid. Like, he's just chucking daggers. He's sending them, son. They have a quick little fight sequence, but it's clear that he's fighting her because he thinks she's one of the newer. Like, he sensed it somehow, which that's not like fully explained how he could sense that, but it is what it is. And they come to a slight understanding. He's like, oh, let me show you my hideout. And they go to this restaurant, opens a back door, giant hideout. They like must have so much resources to make this hideout. But it's apparently just him and this other guy, like maybe his dad or something. It's just them two, and they have all this info. And we learn that the newer dimension is it's like an invisible dimension on top of our dimension. So it's not like a parallel universe or like a separate distant world. It's like very much like they're on top of each other, so to speak. And the clandestines want to tear down the veil to make like the whole thing the newer dimension, right? Like the way they explained it to her last time, they were like, oh, we just want to go back. Like, we just want to go back to our own spot. Like, who cares about this spot? But then the way they're explaining it now is like, no, they want to tear it down. And so I feel like there's some cut scenes here or there that dive further into like explaining things that just didn't make it into this, which again is why I think there should have been maybe another episode or two to like let some things breathe and really let the info, be absorbed at a natural pace. But no, yeah, they're like, you tear down the veil, our dimension will cease to exist, and it'll only be their dimension. It is what it is. And then we immediately cut to this Supermax prison, the Department of Damage Control Supermax prison, and they're transporting the prisoners somewhere. They're just like in a pipe area, right? Like, and there's two guards. Like they two guards that are so easily overpowered. It's insane. Like, they, for some reason, it took them nigh on zero effort to break out of this spot, and they did it in a heartbeat. Like, they straight up like knock these guards out for nothing. Like, the guards just put up no resistance at all. The knockout come around for a second, and then his mom is like, nah, he can't come with us. Like, F that kid. Apparently, and as far as we know, that's her actual kid. At least the way he explained it a few episodes ago. He's like, this is my mom. And she's like, no, you're no longer one of us. You made your choice. Like, what? She's a insanely villainous person. And it's crazy. And then we immediately cut back to Kamala and her grandma, and we get some emotional impact, right? Like, where she's starts talking about the very real realities of, like, she's from India. Like, her roots are in India, but her passport says Pakistan. And it's all because some dumb British idiot, like, when the British left, like, their impact on this place and this culture just screwed everything up for everyone else involved. and now, there's like cultural differences and disagreements and all this jazz because of the idea that some random white British dude had. The idea of borders that they established, which the actual people that live there were not a fan of. It just affects like their whole lives. And so we get a little bit of the struggle there. We get some bonding on the beach, playing some tunes with the Beach Bros. And she gives a nickname Sloth Baby, and it's like, that's weird. Stupid nickname. But like it's like it goes back down to some more mellow moments, and then we get a very nice moment with Kamala's mom and Kamala's grandma, where they're kind of hashing some stuff out. And she's like, you had all these wild theories. I went to America because I was being shunned by the neighbors. Like, they all thought you were crazy, and because I'm your daughter, like, they also put that on me, and so I needed to get out of here. Like, I wasn't running from you, but also when I was growing up, you weren't there. Like, you were too engrossed in all these wild theories about your mom and like what is going on. And a couple things, like, very real, like the disconnect between them is very it's very believable, and it felt very real. But at the same time, like, talk to your daughter. Like, you might find some forgiveness for your actual mom when you realize that she was right. Like, there were wild theories that were correct, and your kid's a straight up superhero now. And it was emotional, and it was a nice bonding moment. And then we cut back to Kamala learning about her powers a little bit, and the clandestines are immediately there. Like, they break out of prison. Let's see, from a time standpoint, about 32:30 is when they show up in this episode in Pakistan, and they broke out 8 minutes previous in episode time. And so in those 8 minutes, they broke out of prison at the DODC Supermax prison and made it to Pakistan, like, flew to Pakistan and tracked Kamala somehow. Like, they don't explain how that happened. Maybe they can sense her, I guess. Same way in, episode 2 or whatever, after she saves the kid. I guess it's the same way they found her then, but, they don't explain that. To the casual viewer, it might seem like they just, like, somehow know where she is, but they track her, and they immediately drop in, like, surprise. It's just a fight. Like within 8 minutes of them being in prison, they're in a fight. Like maybe it would have benefited from showing a scene, like a 30-second scene of them, you know, after they escape, getting on a plane, even like being like, hey, we found her in Pakistan, or like even showing them arrive in Pakistan. But no, they just bust through the window and they're there, and they're just like, so like their villainy feels so tropey, where like they don't have personalities. They're essentially like, we got the smallest bit of personality from them at the beginning of the last episode, right? When they're in the house and she's like getting to know them a tiny bit and they're like joking around a little bit. So they're not just like faceless thugs, but for all intents and purposes, they're faceless thugs. Like they might as well be robots, right? Like they're just so outwardly like aggressive and tropey. And you know, I'm granted, this is not, you know, this is supposed to be like a kids show, kind of like the target audience is like 14. So to a certain extent you got to forgive that, but at the same time it just so much of the rest of this show feels mature, right? Like if like they at least the way they're handling all the cultural aspects of this feels very mature. Like they took great care in making sure that all of that feels real and all of that feels genuine and respected. And then since the rest of the show is focused on 14-year-olds, they're like, okay, you know, we don't need to give the villains super relatable backstories or motivations. Like they just want to, they're just villains. They're just villains. They just want to tear down the world, right? And we get a chase sequence, which is actually a fairly fun chase sequence, but it's like, again, it's not, it's just so outwardly tropey that it's somewhat distracting. And you know, one thing I did like is Kamala gets something at least a little more, you know, accurate, closer to her comics accurate costume, which is very nice. And she's just pulling out tropes of like she can't drive and they're fighting and stuff, and it's a very cool parkour chase sequence through the city. A lot of fun, you know. I enjoyed that, even though the villains again are super tropey. Like they're not you know, subtle in their methods at all. They're not, you know, even some of the facial expressions they make, they're just like, ah, yeah, like we're villains. They don't have much dialogue other than like, get her, yeah, surprise. It's just like, come on now. And at least one of them dies. I think two of them dies. Right? Like he, the adult red dagger guy hits him with a couple daggers and then he dies. So like rip to him. But then they have a little mini fight sequence in this enclosed space, right? Dead end. And one of the other ones dies. And also, Kamala is very good at fighting. You know, we had that little brief training sequence in episode 1 or 2, but she's like legit good at this point. Like, I don't know how she got so good at fighting. I guess that's another thing that maybe it would have benefited from another episode or 2 to show her like struggling to get these abilities like under control, and like, well, I mean, not necessarily getting them under control, but like learning how to use them in a combat fashion, right? Because she's just like in a fight and using them perfectly. Like these individuals who have seemingly been around for 100 years at least and have magic weapons, and they're just murking them. She's having almost no issues fighting them. One other thing, during their breakout, how did they get their magic weapons? Like they're leaving the prison and the dude's like got his super mace with him, and it's like, how do you not take that? Can he just conjure that? Like what? And then so like that, all of that felt very tropey and very like, this is a show for a 14-year-old. But the last 2 minutes of the episode, she straight up, they like she stabs the bangle, and it like rips open the fabric of their universe, and she gets sent back in time. And like she's not like just experiencing like a vision, right? Like she's not, because they're going around her. Like she can interact with all this stuff, and the people there are like actively trying not to bump into her. So unless that's like an error in the set direction where they were like the extras accidentally bumped into her, seemingly she's actually there during the partition. So, you know, who knows what the frick happened to that, but like it's just very confusing, and it's just like, what is happening? Like this show's a trip, dude. Like I thought she was gonna like interact with some of her family members when they were little. I mean, probably that's what's gonna happen next episode, but like this is wild, man. And they're gonna have to wrap this up in the next 2 episodes, and then also somehow set up her appearance in the Marvels movie. And there's a lot going on in this show, and it's very fun, but also, in my personal opinion, definitely needed at least one more episode, whether it be in the middle, in the beginning, or towards the end, where they just allow some of these scenes to breathe, and allow some additional scenes to set other things up, where it doesn't feel so like, and this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, right? It felt, the clandestines just appearing in Pakistan felt so out of the blue and so jarring. It was like Game of Thrones season 7, season 8 type stuff, where they're just like, oh yeah, this cross-continental flight, that should have happened. I mean, unless, right, because like Department of Damage Control took these people right after the wedding, within the same time frame, unless they're trying to say that this prison breakout took place way before some of this other stuff that's happening in this episode. Like seemingly all of this takes place at the same time. And so like within like a day, within like 8 hours, they break out of prison, get on a plane, fly there, find her, fight her, and send her into the past. Like it's very rapid and definitely very rushed, in my opinion. Like I think, weirdly, all of the stuff, like a lot of the stuff with Kamala, everything that does not include the clandestines, like the Jinn people, everything that does not include them, I love. Freaking fantastic. It's excellent. But I don't like the clandestines at all. I don't like, not just like, oh, they're unlikable people, but like the writing for them is pretty bad, in my opinion. And not just like the dialogue they're giving off, but like, how they just randomly appear places. Like it feels like they're an unnecessary add-on to this story to add some sort of like conflict to the show, other than the family type conflict that was already inherent, right? Because everything else feels like it was handled with such care and such respect for the culture, that we're exploring, and her family struggles, and like it feels very much like the directors and the writers were like, we're gonna treat this as very important. And the Jinn felt almost like an afterthought, where they're like, oh yeah, we also need to make sure this is a superhero show and that there's a fight happening, because it's not like the Jinn are like important comic characters. As far as we know, and as far as I've seen, the clandestines were like a super deep cut in comics history, and don't really have any connection to Kamala in general. So, we can kind of judge from that they're not really that important overall, and it very much feels like that in this, where this is very much like a kids focused thing, where the motivations and the humanity of the villains don't matter. They're just in the way. They're just an obstacle. They might as well be nameless and faceless, you know? Overall, though, I'm really enjoying the series. It's just, you know, the Jin storyline is my only gripe so far. Also, bring back Bruno and Nakia. Like, they're goats. We love them. Like, we want more of them and less of this Red Dagger kid. I mean, cool. This kid can throw daggers and fight good, and he's like supposed to be probably a potential love interest for Kamala. She's like, they just keep introducing these potential love interests for her, and it's like, clearly Bruno's the man. Just bring back Bruno. she's gonna go back to America and be like, I met this guy named Chemo or whatever. And he's gonna be like, Bruno's gonna be like, great, another one. Like, you know, we're gonna have there's conflict with her and Nakia, where Nakia's just ignoring all her texts. That's something I think we should have focused more on, but it is what it is, brother. Again, enjoying it a lot. Let me know what you guys thought of this down below in the comments, though. I would love to hear your opinions. If you disagree with me, totally fine. I get it. But be respectful about it, please. That would be great. But yeah, if you enjoyed my reaction, leave a like on the video. It means a ton to me. If you're new here, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon. That would mean the world as well. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.